I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Gera Spencie is here. Hi.
Hello. I am very glad to be here today. Currently it's like cloudy where I am. That's the weather report for today. I woke up at like 10. Pretty good day today. I have had 2 hours to think about this, and I'm frankly thrilled.
Well, I'm thrilled you're here too. It's partly cloudy here with very gusty winds and cold temperatures for some bizarre reason. But then again,
Oh my God,
I
that's
am
the same for me actually.
yeah, it's windy, and whatever my wife put up in the lawn yesterday is now almost in the neighbor's lawn. So that's going to be fun later today.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes and see how well the neighbors like us. Hey, thanks for coming on. I do appreciate it. How long have you been doing the VTuber thing?
Oh, for this thing, I've been doing it for about 9 months,
Mhm.
since June or July. Can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 7 months, and frankly, it has been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life because honestly, this has been a journey for me. I've met new people, I've been able to, tell people about myself and stuff, and
Mhm.
honestly, it's brought me out of, I guess, my, corner, I guess.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. Were you in kind of
that's the
a
best way to describe it.
were you kind of in a social funk before, where everything was kind of not moving around you at the time?
Oh yeah,
Mm.
definitely. I kind of felt like, the person who, was basically, out of the social sphere. I really, couldn't get out to
Mm.
many people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, but
Yeah.
let's just say I was definitely a lot more introverted
Mm.
back in like June or July.
Yeah. Well, this does help a lot of people, and it's kind of a, uh, I mean, for not being able to find a better word, therapy type of thing to get them out. But it
Yeah.
also gives you kind of a chance to, um, in case you are, kind of in a situation where you are perceived the way you don't want to be perceived in real life, that you can start off that way, where however you want to be perceived here online,
Hmm.
with the avatar and such, and with your personality. People are meeting you for the first time.
Yeah.
Wow. Was that kind of something else you looked forward to when you started VTubing?
Yeah. When I became a VTuber, it was more of a thing where I kind of had it culminate over the years.
Mm.
Like personally, before I was a VTuber, I kind of wrote. I don't have much actual works that I actually wrote. It was more of just this like long Google Doc of you know, bunch of ideas that I vomited out, and I kind yeah, and then kind of like before that, I didn't really stream. I just had the idea of streaming. Like when I was really young,
Mm.
right? When I was really, really young, I actually did do some streaming, but I can't remember exactly what I did. It was more of it was definitely more scuff than even today. Because I
You,
do have plenty of scuff and
yeah. Well,
streams.
I mean, everybody does. It's just how you present it. Is if you put
Yeah.
enough if you put a pretty enough frill on it, it becomes a feature and not a bug.
Yeah, exactly. That's with a lot of games and stuff. Yeah, and of course, VTubing.
It's all
Scuff is
marketing.
literally part of the life cycle of a VTuber. I mean,
That's
if there's no scuff in a stream, there's something going on. There is something going on.
Yeah, yeah. So there's something bigger going on, and it does kind of take away a little bit more of the more one to one type of feeling that you might get if you're in a chat. If somebody's just too good and it's too
Yeah,
smooth, and it's
yeah.
it's
Doesn't
it,
feel like they're real
yeah, yeah.
in a way.
It's like we're gonna end up with the AI stuff. I think eventually
Yeah,
people are gonna look and say,
yeah.
"That's too good." I'm
Exactly.
yeah, I'm not buying into that, which is good because those of us like myself who are never that good will never be accused of being AI.
Of course.
I mean, we,
Uh, the greatest thing about humanity is the mistakes it's made and then decided to take and like solve,
hmm
because back in the day we used to do a lot of like wars and stuff.
oh yeah,
But as we've progressed, we've decided to cut down on wars because we've learned that as the timeline of warfare has progressed, it has gotten even more like deadly.
hmm
Now we have like nuclear weapons, and that's kind of
yeah,
scary.
yeah,
Um, basically, we've decided to make stuff like the UN and stuff to
hmm
prevent those kind of wars and stuff. So we are basically trying to learn from our mistakes constantly, and it could be applied to any scale. And honestly, I really like that.
yeah. It could certainly be applied to like my bank account and my taxes because
Exactly.
there's always something really, really wrong with both of them. Usually, the bank
Yeah.
account has a negative in front of it for some reason, and the taxes have a big red lines marked through it. But I don't know.
Mm.
It just happens every year at the same time. I just like
Yeah.
clockwork. Um, so
Uh,
when you did get started with VTubing, and did you have an idea of what you wanted to do, or did you want to turn on the microphone and see
oh,
what happened?
I had sort of an idea what I wanted to do, but it was more of a mishmash of things because at first, actually, I was actually one of these PNG tubers, right? So, the PNG tubers and VTubers are basically intertwined.
Oh
One
yeah,
is just,
mhm.
more fluid with the movement, and
Right.
one is a simple PNG. But both of them are very nice
hmm
because both of them have that faceless aspect, and really the only difference is that VTubers have a larger scale movement within their model. That's literally the only difference.
Right.
Otherwise, they're both
More
pretty
more
great.
more visually reactive than
More visually
yeah.
reactive. When it came to my PNG tuber, I just drew something on like MS Paint, and people were entertained. I personally sometimes I think on April Fools I actually used that model. And personally it was a great April Fools. It was a little bit of a mishmash of ideas that April Fools as well. So yeah, and I also incorporated in that April Fools the old thing where I did this weird like British accent with my OC for some reason. I don't know why, but I did. Um, I guess
Was
it
it
was part of the canon, I guess.
was it British or
But
British E?
British as in, the I guess Anglo
Yeah,
accent.
the
Yeah.
hello governor one.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't think I even went for like a specific region of Britain. I just was like, yes, I'm going to go for the British Isles. Yeah. The entire thing.
Part Welsh, part Scottish.
Gosh. Uh yeah.
That's pretty hilarious. Yeah, sometimes the best stuff is just kind of off the cuff anyway, and
Yeah.
it's very real and reactive. And when you do something
Even
like that,
now when I write, it basically is still that mishmash of ideas. I don't really do like pre-planning. I'm just like, yes, I'm gonna write this into the lore, and now it's lore.
yes.
Yep.
See, I like
We're
that. I mean,
going off the whim.
yeah, I don't write a lot of I don't write questions down. I've never done that like for interviews and such, but there's nothing wrong to me to write an idea down if you've got something that you want to remind somebody about, or if you've got a general, um, like put an index card that says "eat" or something like that, or
Yeah.
reminds you to go eat. There's
Yeah.
prompts, and then there's scripts, and it's you can really tell if somebody is going word for word on something in a stream because usually they're not used to saying things like that. They've never read a script in their life, and they're kind of and they're these pause in weird places, and you hear the pages turned in the background, that type of thing. Um,
Exactly.
and there's nothing natural to it at all. But you've I wouldn't say what you're doing is ad lib, but it's it's close.
Something in the
Yeah,
realm of improvisation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Here's a topic. Go do something. That type of
Yeah.
thing. Uh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. I
I
mean,
just like going.
were you that type of person normally?
Yeah, basically, I'm usually that type normally. I
Yeah.
don't like using scripts.
Mm,
Honestly, they kind of just limit what I do, you know? I like looking up, like, if I'm given a script, usually I'll read from it some, maybe also add a couple more words to it, because
hmm.
honestly, I don't like reading for scripts. I like improvising. It's part of my nature, personally.
Oh yeah. Well, I see you got a voice that could do like voice acting and such. Um,
Yeah,
it,
I've heard that like plenty of times. I
yeah.
mean, I've heard from people walking by, they say stuff like, "Oh, your voice sounds great. You should do radio."
Oh, yeah.
So
Did you hit him?
I guess that was what?
Did you take a swing at him? I could
What
tell you from the
I don't know if I
radius.
took a swing at them. I was like, "Should I do radio?"
Yeah.
Personally, I think that was also part of the reason why I got into the entire like stream base,
Hmm.
because I mean, if you have the idea of writing and kind of that artistic merit to you,
Hmm.
and then you have people saying stuff like, you know, you should do radio. I mean, heck, I mean, yeah, maybe you should do some sort of thing in the, I don't know, influencer industry,
Yeah.
as in,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Entertainment
entertainment.
industry.
And
Yeah.
I don't
That sort
use
of thing.
industry a while. I don't use industry a lot
Yeah.
because I usually do this as more of a gig or even just for the fun of it.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But as a lark and having and it's not a job. It's something you're doing for fun and I understand that completely. I mean, really, I would say anybody in the United States that's wanting to do radio should look into it as part time and not full time, unless you're in a
Yeah,
big city and you know somebody, and because you're just not going to make enough money to
exactly.
to
Uh,
pay a
and
bill, let alone all of them. Uh, I can tell you from very personal experience on that particular topic. Um, but again, if I was still hiring in radio, I'd give you every chance to make no money. Um,
yeah.
but it's
Um,
at this you get a chance to kind of show off and use that instrument you've got, and still enjoy yourself by controlling what you're doing. Um, and I talked about this a little bit, but not too much. That the folks who use, especially the PNG models, have to um, have to create more of a picture with their voice and how they're saying
yeah,
things because they don't have the emote uh, emoted face and hand gesture type things that the more 2D models have. Um,
yeah,
and that's I think it's a good learning tool, if nothing else. If you're
mhm,
planning to go up farther, start with the PNG and learn how to emote.
exactly.
You know it, and
Yeah.
it'll help you later when 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 everything stops working. It will help you later.
Yeah, I think that did actually help me when I originally got this VTuber model. It was around September when I did. It wasn't much of like a huge debut, but you know, I did a little like improvised Doodle slide presentation. It wasn't that much. I mean, I made something in Illustrator for like, I mean, I have this Adobe Suite account. I have uh I would use Affinity, but I mean, I was offered the Adobe Suite account for like free, so I mean, whatever. Um,
You had a chance to use it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I get a chance to use it, and it's without any cost, so I mean, might
Yeah,
as well. So
yeah.
I made something in like Illustrator, like really quickly. It was kind of you know, fragile looking, and frankly, um, you know, if I were to, you know, do another debut, which I did a re-debut on 320, kind of after a big hiatus, it
Hmm.
was very very simple. Like I just played a bunch of games
Yeah,
during that debut, and there was a bit of build up to it. I made a little bit of a build up, but it wasn't that much. It
yeah,
was more of a thing for fun, and frankly, it was a fun debut.
yeah,
Played a couple games. I'm now in the you know, the gears are turning again, and I'm streaming again.
yeah,
And
yeah. Well, why did, if you don't mind me asking, why did you take the time off?
okay, so right, throwback to like January or so. I guess I was starting to feel the first sign of like, you know, I was having, you know, I didn't enjoy this as much as I used to.
Hmm.
basically burnout in the simplest terms. I was still enjoying it to a degree, and I still definitely wanted to do it in the future. So I decided maybe I should take a break, take a breath, and ultimately resort to just like for a while posting on like Blue Sky and stuff
Mm,
because I did a lot of that during my break.
yeah.
And honestly, ever since I, switched from Twitter to Blue Sky, I've noticed I've gotten a lot more like interaction because
Yeah.
when I was on Twitter, I usually just saw like interaction bait and, the regular stuff you see on Twitter.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
on Blue Sky, you actually have to interact with people, and honestly, that has actually kind of gotten me myself into a better social mood, and honestly, kind of supported my break. And now I'm over here streaming again, and
Mm.
honestly, I couldn't be happier.
I think you're the first person I've heard use the term social mood. But it makes sense. It very much makes sense. I mean, if you, I mean, if you're in the mood to talk with people and be involved in something, that's a social mood. If you're in a mood to you know just yell at people and tell them to go jump in a lake or whatever, or other expletives you like to use in that in that form, that's a mood. I mean, I like that. I'm going to
Yeah,
steal it actually, because that's what people in the media
totally.
do. We just steal things and take things for
Yep.
free. And
Inspiration, we
it's,
call it.
yeah, I call it stealing things for free. I don't sugarcoat it at all. I just I'm stealing it. I'm taking it.
All right.
So what
And it's
when you're on the stream, and what are you usually doing?
Well, usually when I'm streaming, of course, it's in most of the gaming realm. I'm not really a someone who does like, cooking streams. I don't think I'll ever do a cooking stream or a music stream or whatever.
Mhm.
Usually I'm uh playing games. Usually they're indie games. Like I like focusing on indie games. Recently I've actually gotten into this one indie game. It's huge.
Mhm.
Everyone like at some point when you play this game, you will proceed to basically get an addiction to it.
Yes.
It's Balatro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Very fun game. Basically, you know, the gameplay loop is very, very satisfying. And the greatest thing about it is that there's like no microtransactions or any like season packs. It's like you buy the game and then you get access to the entire game. Like, I really want like games to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want a game which comes out with a large base price and then like 50 DLCs that cost like $30 each.
Mhm.
It's a very scandalous model of
It
making
is.
a game,
It is.
honestly.
And I think you're going to see, unfortunately, more of it because it's easier to come up with more stuff for a game that's already there, and
Yeah,
then come up with an entirely new game.
yeah.
And
A lot of indie games don't do that
yeah,
at all. I mean, to be fair, indie games aren't the type to do that because they're made by you know people who really care about their game and aren't making it for like explicitly profit, but are actually making it just to, get their game out there. And yeah, it's nice. Usually their games sell for at most like $30 or, um, you know,
yeah,
and usually AAA games nowadays, especially like Nintendo now is selling their games for like $80 a pop, which is insane. Because that should not be what a game is priced. If
yeah.
I were going to spend $80, I would probably do it. Let's say, I would spend that $80 buying a very fancy meal or something.
I would buy a car.
I'll buy a car with $80. Yeah.
You have never seen some of the cars I've driven. Yeah, I could get maybe
Oh.
one or two good ones out of that one.
Yeah.
Drive it about a mile and a half, and then get another one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like a little.
the expensive part of Nintendo is amazing, and then to hear the nightmares that some streamers have with putting Nintendo on and using it, and they go
Yeah.
after YouTube channels and stuff like this, makes
Yeah.
absolutely no sense.
Yeah. They used to do that a lot.
Yeah,
it's a scummy business practice, and honestly, Nintendo's been doing it for a while.
Yeah,
Especially I'd say now because, with those $80 games and the fact that really no one's like people are going to buy the games anyways. That's the problem
right,
because it's
right.
Nintendo. They make, well, good games of, quality, but people are not going to just boycott, because when you boycott, you also have to refuse a product sometimes that you really like.
Yeah,
So that's the real struggle with, you know in general, like civil disobedience, because
yeah,
you're sacrificing a lot with it
yeah.
to get a result of a better outcome for, I don't know, the masses, I guess.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing too. It's not just scummy. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's free advertising.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
you don't have to pay for this for advertising. And if someone is watching it and enjoying it and doesn't even have a Nintendo, maybe they'll go buy one. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, that's just
yeah.
it just, my old radio marketing stuff that I used to have to take every year. It's coming back and screaming at me about this. Now it's free, free, take it.
Yeah.
Um, Stupid all the way around. Um, but then they're a multi-trillionaire company, and I'm here. Um,
Yeah.
so there's something to be said for that too, I guess. Uh, the the adapting to having an audience and having people come in and watch you and people try to, participate with you. Was that easy for you?
Honestly, like when I had like zero viewers, no one viewing at all, like actually like my chat was devoid, I just decided maybe I should just enjoy the playing the game,
Hmm.
commentating on it, getting used to having zero viewers, and honestly, I had fun with it. And
Yeah.
then some people actually came in, and honestly, it was charming to see that people were actually wanting to view me.
Mm-mm.
Like, even one person, that's one person who wants to watch your content, who
Yeah.
wants to watch you play a game, who wants to watch you fail, who wants to watch you succeed. That is honestly inspiring to me
Yeah.
if you think about it further, because yeah, you could have like millions and millions of people watching, but really all you can also have like one person watching,
Right.
and equally that's one or like thousands of people wanting to watch you. I don't know why I said millions, because why would there be a million people on Twitch? I've never seen. Have I seen a stream with a million people watching?
I
I mean,
I don't.
that's usually
I think the most I've seen is in the 20,000 range
yeah.
one
I
time,
don't.
but
I
it
mean,
was a super event or something. But the thing is, the possibility is still there. The potential
yeah.
audience is has not been reached,
Hmm.
um, even
Yeah.
by a long shot. There's still a lot of people that would enjoy it that don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
So and again, that brings me around to there's no reason for VTubers to compete against each other for
Yeah.
audience.
Honest,
It's
honestly, we need to collaborate more and,
Yeah.
have these more collaborated streams and
Mm.
enjoy our presence
Yeah.
within our little community of
Make
the
make
internet.
make the whole thing welcoming,
Yeah.
and if it does reach a critical mass of people, which I don't think it will anytime soon, then maybe you can start, not so much going up, trashing somebody else and doing it, but working yourself more as a business. In the meantime, especially for the smaller VTubers, it makes absolutely no sense, um,
Yeah.
and it comes back to bite them.
Yeah.
And,
Why
and
would you? I just question why you need to compete with someone with your similar level. Like, honestly, when I stream, I don't even focus on competition. Like, what? There's competition in this community? Like, usually I'm thinking, hmm, how do I, get like, maybe like another viewer or like two people chatting? Like,
yeah,
how do I get this, conversation going while I play my game?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What game do I play? Like, that's the questions I ask. I don't ask who am I competing against, because
Yeah.
really I'm competing against no one.
Who's my
I'm
rival? You
competing
don't really have a rival. It's
the
you
The only person I consider, competing against is my personal like self,
yeah,
to become better.
mhm,
Because why would I compare myself with others
yeah.
when I could just do my own thing?
And there's so many different ones. I mean, if you're coming on and being a copycat of someone and just doing them like right down to you know, right down to the model looking the same with a slight color change, which has happened before, obviously. That's one thing. And if you just don't like somebody, that's one thing. And it happens all the time. It happens to me a lot. Sometimes with my wife, she does that. But really, it just happens, and that's one thing. But to reach out and try to damage somebody else or put them as the bad guy in any situation when you're just streaming games is really ridiculous.
Yeah, I
Uh,
completely agree with you on that.
yeah, and I wouldn't have the energy to do that even if I was younger. I wouldn't have that energy. I don't know where you young people get it, but I need the energy to put my socks on in the morning. Okay, so that's
Oh, that's me too.
yeah, that's
Personally, like I like, my alarm goes off in the morning and I'm like, man, I don't want to wake up. And then my second alarm goes off and I'm like, man, I don't want to wake up. But then I like urge myself, like with all the power, the might of the sun, I finally arch my back and I finally sit on my bed. And then I finally get up and start trying to get ready for the day.
yes.
Like,
I usually find excuses like, oh, there's a cat on my leg. I can't get
mm,
up.
yeah,
Eh,
yeah,
it's against the rules. And then they get up like, oh man, come back. I don't want to get
yeah,
up. Uh,
yeah.
so with your streaming, is there anything that you've really wanted to do, or a game that you've
Um,
really wanted to stream that you haven't got to yet?
a game that I've really wanted to stream. I don't really recall like any games that I really, really want to stream. Mostly, I usually just stream like games. I just really stream like random games that I have in my catalog.
Mhm.
Mostly, what I've been, streaming up lately is, as said before, Balatro, and
Right.
I've also been getting into the Cult of the Lamb.
Oh, I love that game. I am going
Yeah,
to
that
get it and
game's
play it
fun.
eventually, but I say I'm a lot of my extra time is here, which I enjoy
Yeah.
immensely, probably more than I would have any game at this point. But that's a game that I think that I wouldn't have to have the super twitch muscles to do, which I'm too old to have at this point. But
Yeah.
the I would still enjoy the gameplay.
Yeah, I've noticed that I've actually gotten into a lot of like roguelike games as
Mm.
of recent. Maybe I should play like more roguelites, I guess,
Hmm.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like, discover I've never played I never played like the Binding of Isaac or
yeah,
um something like that.
yeah.
But
That's
if
what
I can,
that's what it
make
reminds me a
time.
lot of is the Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
And or there's another game that was out. It was a game where you buy islands and you go from one island to the other. Oh,
Go from one island to the other. Can't
eh,
recall what that
I've got it
means.
on my other
But
computer, but it's and someone out there will know, and then I'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and remember what it was. Forager, that's what it is. Forager.
ah
It reminds me a lot of that, and I think it would be a lot of fun to play. Irritating at times, and a lot of unnecessary deaths, but still fun to play in the meantime. As far as roguelike stuff, there's a game called Luck Be a Landlord, which is now on my phone, and I will play that 24 hours if it if I don't have anything else going on.
yep.
Those things just grab you in and just suck away the time. But you still have so much fun doing it. Is the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, is there any other types of streams? I mean, you mentioned you're not going to do a cooking stream. You're not going to do anything, the music stream. But are there other things that you'd like to try?
Ooh, that's actually a good question. Maybe someday, maybe I could do like a little like I guess off-brand stream where you know, I just do like a bunch of tier lists or something. I've done that in the past, but it was much more like I don't know, kind of fragile, I guess,
Hmm.
if you could describe it that. Scuffed. That's the word. Scuffed.
Yeah,
How could
yeah.
I forget? How could I
How
forget?
scuffed of you to forget that.
Anyways, basically, maybe I'll actually do a music stream on second thought. Maybe if I ever get into like actually like, you know, getting into the process of making music, maybe learning a bit of music theory in that regard,
Hmm.
I'll actually decide to, produce my own music. Maybe I'll do some covers. I don't know, karaoke night stream.
Oh yeah,
Anything's possible.
yeah. We got a lot of folks who've interviewed who've done covers, and I think we found a lot of people who can actually do these things. Another thing about this medium is we found a lot of people who are talented we never would have found out about.
Yeah.
And a lot of people with tremendous voices like yourself and other folks who really do have that ability, and we wouldn't have heard them other than maybe accidentally catching them on at the store or something. Um, it's allowed a lot of other people. I've had one person who on Admiral Trina who has become one of the a really very good and very well sought after voice actor. Um,
Wow.
and she's done amazing stuff. Been on the show, and again, it all you just send it out there and see what happens. The worst they're going to say is no. Um,
Yeah,
heck, it's and if it gets right, you can just do it from home.
exactly.
Yeah, what I'm saying is do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in not doing it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah,
So you might as well go ahead and, take the shot.
yeah,
Do it
yeah,
because life only lasts for, on average, like, depending on what country you live on, it could also vary, but I don't know what the world average is. I'd say, like, I don't know, some bring it down to like 60s, some are like in like 90s, but you only have like the longest someone has ever lived is 122. You
hmm,
have at most, if you are extremely lucky and you're extremely like, you know you're a super centenarian or something,
yeah,
you live until that point, you only have like what is 22 years. And why would you want to be a super centenarian? Because at some point you got to realize that everyone dies at some point and you have to confront that reality.
mm,
So in those 80 years, you need to really enjoy life because you presumably only get one, and after that you basically,
it doesn't matter what you
um
did.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Ultimately nothing matters when it
yeah,
comes down to it. Nothing matters because every mistake you make in the long run doesn't mean much except for maybe in the moment.
yeah,
So ultimately, go ahead, do everything you can to enjoy this life you have
yeah,
because it flashes by, it
mm,
races like a train
yeah,
going at high speeds,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Even when it seems like it's going slow, it ain't. It's just
Yeah,
it, it
exactly.
it's
Like
just not there.
I could have sworn yesterday Silk Song was announced, but it's almost the end of April. Like, even in those moments of like, those trying times, life can go by like a click,
Oh
like a
yeah,
blink of an eye, like
yeah,
a, how fast a fly, you know,
yeah,
flaps
yeah.
its wings quite
Oh,
fast, actually.
or like being
Um,
being a grandfather, blinking your eyes and finding that the baby grandson is now almost 10. Like,
yeah.
whoa, wait a second here.
Well, what?
When did that
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
It happens very quickly, and I do have a reason why to be a super centenarian is if you really hate the company you used to work for, and then you just stay alive long enough to bankrupt them with your pension. There's
Yeah.
a lot to be said for spite.
Mm,
Just just
yeah.
just keep the heart moving so we can still get the money. But it's really it really gives this medium gives people a chance to maybe do some of the things they wish they could have done in the past, or do things that they wish they could do now that they don't have the opportunity, or almost basically start over socially.
Exactly.
And that's just three of the many reasons that
That
people
kind
do
of
it.
was, the third reason you mentioned, the latter. I think that was kind of part of what really motivated me to become a VTuber because I kind of just wanted to, have a fresh, clean start,
Yeah.
kind of, you know, take some weight off my shoulders and just go into a, new phase of my life,
Yeah.
and move
And
on. And it was probably the, best decision I've ever made,
yeah,
linking back to what I said earlier.
yeah, and the people that you're interacting with now don't have any preconceived notions about you.
Yeah.
And they
I
they,
could
they
just
didn't know that 5 years ago you did something really ridiculous in the school cafeteria, and everybody knows it, and no matter what you do, you'll never live that down. Well, they don't know that. I mean,
yeah.
unless it made the national news or something, then
Mention the
I
national news.
mean, there's limits to this sort of thing, but you really do get to kind of I kind of compare it to going from your last year of high school to first year of college. You're
Exactly.
still the same person, but nobody knows you, and now you can frame that in a different way and start, you know,
Exactly.
yeah, and you can start fresh and go from there. Now you don't get a chance to do that very much in life. Maybe going from one job to the next, but even then, your reputation could follow you if you stay in the same field, um, and it can make a big difference that way. But it sounds like to me you're just enjoying yourself,
Exactly.
and
Precisely.
and am I right in thinking that if things just kept smooth riding this tack, you'd be fine with it?
Yeah. And even if things like went wrong, I just decide, you know, if anything like catastrophic happened, like I don't estimate that it would actually happen,
Hmm.
but if that actually happens, I have to acknowledge that, I have to move on from that. And if I can do that, then ultimately I am strong.
Mm,
That's what I perceive, at least.
yeah, yeah, and then to know that you can affect somebody's life who you're never going to meet in person, that could be standing upside down from you on the other side of the planet. How does that hit you?
That, I've always thought that that is actually like, again, one of the best things about VTubing because honestly, I mean, one person again viewing you or like two or like just a small amount
Mm,
again feels more than enough to like charm me in a way because I changed someone's life that would never meet me, would never even consider like meeting me in real life. They just like watching my content and I'm just like, thank you. Like, absolutely, thank you.
yeah, yeah. Well, I got to thank you for coming on and giving me a chance to meet you and talk about what's going on with you. We're going to have the links for everything that you've got going on, and we're going to be in the description for this video.
All right.
Check out what Jared's got going on because it looks like to me you got a good momentum going in the right direction, and you're doing this for the right reasons. Um,
Hmm.
and it'll be a lot of fun in the future seeing what you got going on. Keep us in touch and let us know if you got some big events coming up. Okay?
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Thanks for having me come on.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.